Hey guys, Kev here. I built an Instagram sales agent that literally no one has seen before that uses a human in the loop workflow. It costs $18 a day, but we launched it yesterday and we've already generated a $1,500 AI agency sale from this. And by the looks of it, every single successful Instagram creator in the world would happily pay thousands of dollars for this exact workflow that you guys are gonna see today. And in this video, we're gonna build it together. Before I actually get into the entire breakdown, I just wanna show you guys the quick working demo so you guys can see exactly what we're working on today. So the first automation that you guys are looking at is a daily automation that triggers and looks for all the new Instagram posts that I have posted or any of my clients have posted, and then it stores that URL in the database. From there, we trigger that row in the database to then be scraped by our phantom buster so that we can get engaged warm leads that are not following the Instagram accounts yet that would be interested in the thing that we're offering. And then we send that to our human in the loop, which is going to have access to this entire SaaS. And on this SaaS, all our human in the loop has to do is see the warm leads of the day and send the messages. And then once they send those messages, they just click mark message sent, and that user gets sent down the pipeline. Once they're in the messages sent, they can click close sale, and then that funnels them into a closed sale. And all of this is happening in the Neon database, meaning myself and the human in the loop can actually work on the same user interface at the same time. And we can essentially close clients at lightning speed. And I honestly think this is the most groundbreaking thing because it's not just an agent that we're working on, guys. We're piping it into a front-end dashboard like Replit. So now that I showed you guys the quick demo, let's go back into the breakdown. So on the screen here, guys, we can see the 4 tools that we need. We need Make for the automation and the agent buildouts. We need Upwork to actually find and hire our human in the loop who will pay like somewhere from $5 to $10 an hour to do the DM outreach. And then we're going to build the actual SaaS dashboard for our human in the loop to use this on the Replit agent. And then we're actually going to use the Phantom Buster to do all of this high level scraping that I don't think you guys have ever seen before. So let's move on to the next step. And so today's breakdown, guys, like I said, you're going to get that full working demo. And that was just a little teaser. We're going to get much deeper in that today, but I'm also going to explain the entire workflow because this does need a lot of explanation and how it's actually extremely valuable for businesses. And there's also some workflow and bottleneck limitations that you guys are going to need to know about before this actually begins. And another thing to let you guys know about is that it runs on a weekly schedule. So there are some manual tasks that you, the agency owner, have to do once a week for all of your clients. It's not that much work, but it is necessary to make the workflow productive. Craziest thing here, guys, is the target market opportunity. And we're going to go into this a little bit later, but in one of my previous videos where we built out the LinkedIn Outreach Manager, which is also creating sales for my business autonomously, I explained how we do our sales methods in the AI agency game, which is the NVA method, or the most valuable agent method. And so for Instagram dominant creators, this is the most no-brainer offer that I could possibly think of as your most valuable agent that you would offer them up front for like $2,000 to $5,000, impress the hell out of them, and then you can work with them long term. After that, guys, though, we're going to build the flow from scratch, and I'm going to show you how we map the leads to the Replit database and how week after week the agentic flow can actually get better based on the KPIs that we're going to be tracking. So now, guys, we're going to break down the Instagram sales agent flow. And before I break down this slide here, I just want to let you know that to accelerate your learning curve in the AI agent world, I have everything that you see in this video for free in the No Code Academy, which includes our code bases, our agent JSON files, and the Google Docs to actually help you build it out step by step. There's also community calls and coaching programs to help you get to where you want to go in this crazy AI boom. But now let's break down verbally how the flow works. So step 1 is actually just scraping these leads. And this is where I actually want to explain why scraping these leads in this way has never been done before. So imagine you're the client and you upload a video every single day on Instagram. And these videos average 500 likes, 50 comments, and 10 followers every time you upload on average. Well, those 500 likes and 50 comments are actually really warm leads that just haven't decided to follow your page, and they'll probably never see you ever again. But since we're able to then scrape those leads and put it into a database every single week, we're going to be reaching out to these warm leads that still have you in the back of their mind because they saw you on their feed. and you're going to be able to send them that outreach message with your offer. And so if I, for example, was making a video showing how I made an AI agent and that video got 200 likes, I would then be able to scrape all the people that liked it and then reach out to them in the future with this workflow to actually close them in joining the academy or whatever offer I may have. And the same thing works for you guys. And so that's the first thing I want you to understand. Now, the second thing is the actual bottleneck of the agent's flow. And this is why we're doing it on a weekly schedule, because you can only send up to 75 or 100 messages a day safely on Instagram to brand new accounts. And so why would you stuff the lead base with thousands and thousands of leads from videos that were months and months ago versus stuffing the database with leads from just the past week so that the chances of those people still remembering you when you reach out to them is much higher? And so that's why we do the once a week thing. And that actually leads us to step 2. When we do the lead scrape, chances are the people that liked and commented on your post, some of them are following you, some of them are, in third world countries. And that's where we do the lead filter and then we save it into the database. And so what we're looking for are the accounts that are either verified or in North America or both. If they're not a part of that criteria for my offer, then we don't reach out to them and we don't add them to the Replit database. And so if we do the math and we know that we can do 75 outreach messages every single day safely, and we're going to load up the database with 1 week's worth of posts, then we should stuff it up with about 450 leads minimum per week. So from there, guys, we're going to have 1 week's worth of leads. And then we want to actually funnel that into the database. And once that's done, we want to build out the actual customer revenue management system for our human in the loop. This is functional. It's our MVP version, but it can still look much, much better. But this is essentially what you would want on the front end so that you can see and track how your big reason why building out a CRM for this type of workflow is really important is that your Instagram DMs are going to get absolutely flooded, and it's going to be hard for you to identify which people you should be reaching out to and which people your human in the loop should be reaching out to. One of the things that the human in the loop can say in the notes is that the actual business owner or the actual account owner should do the reach out. But guys, from there, you literally just launch it and you improve on the fly. And so what you're seeing on the screen here is the person that I hired to actually do the human in the loop. And I found him on Upwork and I'm paying him about $9 an hour for 3 hours a day. Now that's because I already have a bunch of leads in my Instagram flow. But if you're just starting out, you can literally hire someone for 1 hour a day to do minimum outreach. And then once your Instagram starts kicking up with engagements and views, then you can scale up how much time that they work on reaching out to people. And the other beautiful thing about this Instagram sales agent flow here is that if you're starting out, then you can really identify what your offer is much faster, because if you're sending out 50 messages a day and it's not converting, over time you'll get the idea that potentially you need to change and pivot. Last, to finish off here, the KPIs that you can track, which is the key performance indicators that you can track off of this sales flow, is the message open rate, the message to close rate, and the message to booked call rate. So it depends on what you're trying to achieve here. If I was, let's say, selling AI agency offers, then I would want my human in the loop to do booked calls. If I was selling the academy, then I would just want them to sell directly to the academy landing page. And so those are all things that you can think about when you're designing the offer for your clients. Now, this is just a visual breakdown of how everything flows. So the human in the loop is going to have access to your Instagram to actually do the outreach messages. There is not a single API or any tool in the world that has any ability to send brand new messages to people. And so this is why we need that human in the loop for this step. We use Phantom Buster to separate the like scrape and the comment scrape. And so we funnel both of these lists every single week into the database. And this database also interacts with the Replit dashboard, which is what the human interacts with. So they send the messages on Instagram, but then they track the progression on Replit. And so let's say they send a message here, then they'll go click the button message sent. Then they'll do the next one, so on and so forth, so that we can track their progression. So guys, let's get started. Now, before we get started, please do me a huge favor, smash this video with a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join the No Code Academy if you're looking to learn at light speed. People are loving it. I'm loving running it, and it's a lot of fun in there. And there's a lot of opportunity in the world right now. So without further ado, though, we're going to go and build out the automation to store the client's posts for the URL scraping first. And what I want to explain here is a bunch of things, but the first thing that we want to understand here is how we're going to set the schedule for this Instagram scrape. right? So this is how the automation looks in the Academy, but we're gonna build it out from scratch. So we're just gonna click create new scenario. Now you need an Instagram account that's connected to a Facebook page for you to allow to do this step. So if your clients need to do that or you need to do that, just make sure you get through that step. So we're gonna just type in Instagram for business, and we're gonna check off this watch public user media. And what this does is whenever your user uploads a Instagram post, Instagram reel, Instagram carousel, it gets triggered. And we can limit the amount of times that this runs, or we can not limit it and have it run as many times as we want. But we know after a conversation with our clients how often they post. And so if this is built for myself, I know that I'm gonna post once a day. And so if I post once a day, we wanna make sure that we're getting each post URL properly. And so we're gonna set the limit to 1. And we're gonna then add in our username, which is the socialwolf.io. And we're just gonna click save and save from now on. Now, what we can do is once the automation is saved, we can actually schedule it out to trigger off. And so if I go into this run scenario and we go every day and we set the time to like 8:15 p.m., then it'll just grab the only posts that happened in the past 24 hours. So now that the scenario is active, we can move on to the next step. So this is gonna pull in that post. Now we need to store that post. And so the next step here, guys, is to actually add an increment function. And now what the increment function does is it increases by 1 every time that the automation runs. And in your database, when I show you guys the database on Replit, for example, each primary key or each first row in the table is an ID. And this ID is unique, meaning none of these IDs can ever duplicate. And if they do, then the row doesn't get inserted. And so with the increment function, this guarantees that every single time an automation runs, the row insertion will increase by only 1, making sure that there's no duplicates and making sure that we can always insert the data into the database correctly. Now, next thing you guys want to do is connect it to your database on Replit. And so if you haven't built your project yet, that's the next step. You would actually go into the agent and you would make a prompt like, hey, I'm building an Instagram lead agent and I want you to build out the Neon database. Once it builds out the Neon database, it should look something like this with all the different tables that are built out. Once it has that built out, then you can actually go into the secrets and you'll be able to see all of the account secrets that are associated to your database. Now, these are the secrets that you need to actually give to actually make that connection to your Postgres database. And so we go in here and we type in Postgres, we can see that this is the module that will connect to our Replit database. And in this case, we're going to be inserting these rows into a table. And so we're going to click insert row into a table here. And since I'm already connected, it'll show it that, there is no connections. But basically what this page will show you guys is a whole form of all of those different API keys that you need to paste in. But once you're in, it'll show you a table like this. Now, this is where you can access any one of the tables that are on Replit. And so as you guys see here, like public activities, agent, Instagram agent leads, Instagram posts, Instagram stats. And so what this flow is the Instagram posts. And so we're going to be storing the URL from the post in this table. And so once we do that, it'll then open up all of the different columns. And this is where we can paste in that ID that I was talking about. And so here we have the increment function, and we're just going to paste in that value. And the post URL as well. We have the permalink URL, and we post that in. The post date, paste that in, timestamp. Added to warm leads, we're gonna say no, not yet. Yeah, we're gonna say no, not yet, because this is just the URL. We still need to actually get the leads from the post. And then from there, we're gonna click save. Now, another thing I want you guys to know about is if there is some empty columns in your database that is being inserted. So in this case, like post description has an empty column, it might give you an error called a not null error. All you have to do in that case is go back to the Replit agent and say, hey, I got this not null error, please fix it. But in this use case, it looks like all is set up. It's going to insert the URL from the post that we upload into this database. Now I'm going to pull out my phone and I'm actually going to screen record this flow here because I actually have to upload a piece of content for this thing to actually trigger. So I'm in my phone. I'm just going to switch over to the Social Wolf profile here, and we're just going to pick a random image. And so just pick this stupid little photo of me here. Let's go next and test. Cool. So I'm literally just going to click share. Okay, awesome. So the Instagram post has been uploaded. We can let this automation run in the next 4 hours. But since we're testing this flow, we can also click run once. And so we're going to save the automation. Oh yeah, so we're just going to let this thing run. It should eventually find the post. Here we go. So it found the post. We can open it up. We can see that it was an image post posted on the feed. And here we have the media URL and the permalink. And so we're going to now save that permalink. And in the future, after 7 days, right? Not today, but after 7 days of this thing being on Instagram Reels, it would have, a couple hundred engagements most likely. And then we scrape those engagements and we put it into the database. And so if we go into the into our app now and we go into the database and open up that Instagram posts table, and we can see we've been storing all of the Instagram posts that have been funneling from our Instagram into the database. And after 7 days, we simply move on to step 2. And so now that that's working, we can fully move on to step 2, which is actually scraping these leads. And so this is the manual part of it. The flow that we just showed you guys here will happen automatically every time that your user posts. So essentially the only work that you have to do every single week is the thing that I'm showing you right now once it's built. And that is grabbing all of these Instagram post URLs and heading to Phantom Buster. And so on Phantom Buster, you're looking for 2 separate phantoms. The first one that you're looking for is the Instagram photo likers. This looks for all of the people that liked your post. And then all you have to give it is your URLs of these Instagram posts, and then the exact same thing, but for comments. And so let's go find that comments one as well. Yeah, so here we got the Instagram post commenters export, and it also comes with the comments that they said. And so you can probably use that in your outreach message as well, or you can tell the human in the loop to use that in their outreach message as well. So once you have both of those set up, all you do, guys, is go into the setup of these automations, you connect your Instagram account, and then you literally just add in the URLs of the posts that you want to scrape. So you literally just paste those in. Like obviously mine's not formatted correctly right now, but that's what you do. You just paste that in and then you click save. So now let's imagine that was saved, posted in and click save. Like we only have this, let's just use this one post for example. And then you have the number of likers to extract per photo as well. And so, for most use cases, unless you're dealing with like a celebrity, you wouldn't be worried about this at all. If it was like someone that's getting tens of thousands of likes, then you would mainly just focus on the comments and scraping the comments, because then you have more than enough leads to just focus on that. But so yeah, for this case, we're just going to leave it empty. Yeah, guys. And then from there, you literally just click run once and save. Once you guys have it running, it'll say like in the top right corner here in your execution time that the Phantom's running. That's how you know that you have, that output. And then when you get that response, you're going to get like an entire CSV file of all of the different people that have liked your post. And then you can literally insert that into the database. And you can, again, do that manually. In my use case, from what I realized that works the fastest is downloading the CSV file and just giving it to the Replit agent in the chat and saying, add it to the specific database that you want. Because we're talking about thousands of leads, and this agent has gotten so smart that it can just grab it and insert it directly. All you have to do from there, guys, is iterate and improve upon it, right? And so the scraping of the posts are going to be happening. The insertion of the URLs are going to be happening. You're going to have a database loaded with leads. And one thing, like I was saying, how you can iterate upon this and make this better is when you do scrape the leads from the likes and the comments, you can then filter by verification status and all that other stuff. And so I actually want to show you that really quick. So we can see that the test scrape here happened. We got 3 likers that have been scraped from the Social Wolf post. Now, Social Wolf only has, 13 followers. So like, obviously that makes sense, but here you would just literally download these results, you get that CSV and you paste it right in. But we can also look at the activity and like how this Phantom Buster actually works. If we look at like the about of this automation, and we can see in the output that we get the is verified value, and we get the followed by viewer value. And so this tells us the 2 most important things. Is this person already following us? And is this person verified? Because if they're already following us, there's no point to put them in this funnel because we probably already have them as a client. And so we can filter them out, and we can filter the verified accounts to the top of the list as like high priorities. And so looking at the responses is how you can actually like vibe code the best. And so working in reverse, honestly, guys, pays massive dividends. Okay, and so now we can just talk about the expansion of this workflow and how you can scale it horizontally or vertically. And so if you're scaling a business that is ran by multiple people, or it's not built off of a personal brand like Social Wolf or like a Nike or like a Gymshark or something like that, then you can have every single one of your team members doing this exact same method and just reaching out in a different way, right? And so if you have an entire roster of people that fit all of these different demographics, then all of a sudden you have this outreach machine that hits the entire world at scale. And so that's extremely exciting. The next thing about this agent though, guys, it ties back into the most valuable agent method that I was talking about, which is you show this to an Instagram dominant creator and they're immediately impressed, and you can hire the human in the loop and handle that all yourself. They don't even need to know about the human in the loop. And this is the thing that I want you guys to connect in your brain here, is that what your user sees is this. Like what your client sees is this. Everything else is the stuff that I showed you that you have to manually fix and wire and figure out on your own. And that's the beauty of the vibe coding game. But your user, if they see this type of dashboard instead of a automation backend, they're going to be super impressed. And then you can start stacking in stuff like the LinkedIn agent. Now this LinkedIn agent is absolutely crushing for us. Like we're now at like 270 connections on LinkedIn, and we launched it like 4 or 5 days ago. And so, I see this being as one of the massive opportunities. As you guys can see on the left-hand side, the active agents, we have another 5 agents that I need to explain that are fully working for the business right now, and it's pretty shocking times. So it's been an honor to show you this, but I have some ending points here. I think there's a very small amount of people that understand that you can re-engage and retarget to the people that like and comment on your posts, but I think that's something that people are going to realize really quick. I think this is a massive opportunity for the next year, 2 years, but once everyone catches on that you can essentially build triggers that happen when someone visits your page, likes your page, comments on your page, and then we can use that to retarget them in Instagram DMs. Once people find out about that, then it'll become saturated, just like how everything else has become saturated, like e-commerce and other people building AI automations, right? This is why we try and stay at the cutting edge of things, because what you guys saw in this video, literally, I haven't seen anyone else make. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys are able to build this out for yourself. See you guys in the next one.